Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you have read the title of this video and seen the thumbnail, then you will know that this video is about Christmas. I know Christmas is a long way away, but it comes around sooner than you think, and I thought I would make a couple of videos to help you with planning so that you actually get to enjoy the day and be as stress-free as possible, particularly if you do have children. So I've put some tips together, and with the help of my little elf, I shall read through what it is that I start to prepare for around now in September. So the kind of thing that I look at doing, sometimes even earlier than September, is to research trips and book where you can. So if you want to go and see Father Christmas, or if you want to go and have like a Christmas festive afternoon tea, that kind of thing, research around now, earlier if possible. If you want to do it with friends, get dates off people. They might think you're crazy, but from experience, people's weekends, particularly in December, get booked up fast. So you want to get in there first. So I tend to, whatever I do the one Christmas, I make sure I keep an eye out for when they start to release things for the next Christmas. So there was a couple of things that we missed out on doing last Christmas. One, because I didn't know that they happened, and two, because Freddie was only small and Ivy, well, Freddie was 18 months, Ivy was only 3 months, so there wasn't really much point us spending money on doing things that they wouldn't necessarily remember or participate in. But this year, Freddie is going to be 2.5 and Ivy's going to be 15 months at Christmas, and so I've started to book things up already. So that would definitely be a tip that I would give for you to start doing now. We're hoping to book another visit to see Father Christmas at a garden centre, but they haven't released the dates yet. But again, that's something that I've been keeping my eye on as to when they release the dates. And I also want to try and do something, because I'm doing the train, or we're doing the train journey with my dad and my stepmom, so I want to try and do something Christmassy with my in-laws, so that they both get to do something Christmassy with their grandchildren. So I've got a couple more things to book. I've also got to book our Christmas party for my group of mummy friends that we met through NCT. There's 6 of us now, and I'm trying to look at when the venue releases the Christmas stuff, so I can book up the room. So that's the kind of thing that I would definitely recommend that you start doing now, to avoid disappointment, really. The next thing that I start doing around now is discussing with family members who, if any, are coming to me for Christmas. I've always done Christmas myself. Before we had the kids, we alternated between my dad and stepmom coming and staying over 1 year, so they'd come on Christmas Eve and they'd leave on Boxing Day. Even though they're both only 20 minutes down the road, it just means that people haven't got to drive, so you can have a nice drink and whatever. And then the following year it would be the same. My in-laws would come and stay with us, and then when we had children, or obviously initially when we had Freddie, I thought that I wouldn't want to do Christmas here because I thought it might be a bit too much. So we actually went to somebody else's. I think we went to my in-laws for Christmas. So that's definitely something I recommend, because it saves all the last minute drama and pressure of, well, so-and-so's asked me and so-and-so's asked me, who do I say yes or no to? If you start now, then it gives people the time to actually think about it, rather than you being asked like 2 weeks before Christmas and then you having to rush to get stuff in when it's actually quite expensive. So the next thing on the list, how many points? I've only got 6 points, so we're halfway through. So point 3. Oh, this is a good one. This is one of my favourite things to do. Plan what you will be cooking. Write a list of the ingredients and when to buy them. Now, I've got mild OCD, and that falls into it massively. People hear me saying that and think, what? Why are you doing that early on? But for me, like, even you can see me itching, even the thought of not doing it is just freaking me out. I just find it easier to process everything that's going on, because Christmas, everybody knows Christmas is a busy time, and just to process everything that needs to be done before Christmas, before the hustle and bustle of having to go here, there and everywhere to different parties and meeting friends that you haven't seen for a while, and just trying to cram it all in, along with trying to organise what you're going to be cooking and buying and eating. You can't really enjoy it. So I definitely recommend planning it out, and I will give you an example. So for example, I will categorise what we're going to be eating into days. So I have 3 major cooking days: Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day. The rest of the time is just not like a normal foods. So I then, once I've established who is coming, see previous point, I can then work out what kind of food I need to get. So normally on Christmas Eve I like to do like quite a big feast, but it's not a sit down meal, it's like a picky meal. So like I cook everything, and then you can go like a buffet almost, like you can go and get what you want and have what you want and leave what you don't want. But I like it to be really indulgent food. So I think last year I did like bourbon glazed pork belly cubes in with like little cocktail sticks, and oh, it was just delicious. So I'll do things like that, and write a list out. This is my Christmas Eve shopping list, and then obviously Christmas Day is going to be a big Christmas dinner, and then you know, if I want to get like buns or anything for me to do like turkey sandwiches in the evening, I can get that. So that'll be my Christmas Day list, and then my Boxing Day list will be pretty similar to the Christmas Eve list, just nibbly bits. And I tend to pick up ready rolled puff pastry, and I make like a big pasty with all the leftovers. So I put in there any leftover turkey, which everybody has leftover turkey. If you don't have leftover turkey, then you've not bought a big enough turkey. I have leftover turkey, leftover veg, and gravy and whatever, and then I just seal it up in a nice big pasty, whack it in the oven, and then that's my Boxing Day food done. It's really, really quick and easy, and I think the recipe I got is Tom Kerridge's, so see if you can give that a Google if that sounds interesting to you. But we did it last year and it was just to die for. So yeah, that's the kind of thing that I'll do. And obviously during December I am hoping, fingers crossed, hoping to do Vlogmas, so I will take you along with me when I do the shopping for those different things, if you know, if that's something that would interest you. The next point that I've got here is oh yeah, if you want to change your decorations, now is the time to do it. We have had the same decorations since we moved in. I asked Mark what colour he wanted, and he picked blue and silver, like blue, silver and white, but I'm starting to get a little bit bored of them, and the fact that we're going to be redecorating, hopefully it will be before Christmas, so that our living room will actually be a different colour, and I'd quite like to have a more traditional colour, so maybe whites, just whites and silvers, no blue. But the best time to get decorations is now, if you haven't got them in the January sales, because that's another time it's really, really good to get discounts. Last Christmas Eve, it was probably around midnight when we got into bed, I bought this year's Christmas jumpers for the kids for like a fraction of the price. I got them from Next, and full price they were like something like £20, £25, and I think I got them for like £5-6 each. So that's definitely the time to do it, when it's classed as too late So if you haven't already bought new decorations in the January sales, then definitely do it now. I bought a different Christmas tree, and if I bought it in December this year, it probably cost me about £70–80, but it cost me £13 because it's classed as out of season. So definitely, if you want to look at getting decorations, get them now. The fifth point is write a list. Oh, what does that say? I can't even read my own writing. Write a list for presents and keep an eye on the sales, and have a savings account for just presents. Now, I am a massive list writer. I've got a list here. So most of my lists are kept on my phone, and I have an Amazon wish list for the kids and me and Mark. So, but what I mean by writing a list is write a list of what you've bought, because if you start buying early on, which I know a lot of people do, and you buy in the sales and you put it away, and then you start buying more closer to Christmas, you forget what you've bought, and then you come to wrap them all and you think, holy moly, my house is like Toys R Us. It is immense, all the presents that I bought. So I tend to write them down once I've bought them, and then I can refer back to that when I think, oh, that's a good present, I'll get that. And then I look on the list and think, well, actually, he's already got quite a lot. So I can know then whether to go, well, I won't buy it for Christmas, I'll buy it for his birthday. If it's in the sale, then I get it and then keep it. The other thing that we do, and I would definitely recommend, particularly if you are on like a low income family, is to have a separate savings account that you put money into every month specifically for Christmas. So we put in a set amount every month, and then that will accumulate over the year, and then by Christmas time we've got we've got a pot of money specifically for Christmas presents. Obviously throughout the year it will fluctuate, because like I just said, if I see something in the sales, then I will buy it and obviously use the money from the Christmas fund for that. But I've definitely found since doing that, obviously it's only been 2 years, so this will be the third Christmas that we've done it, I've definitely found that helps with the money side of things at Christmas time, because it can get stressful. And the last thing you want, particularly as I said, if you're on a low income family or a high outgoings family, it can be stressful if you want to buy a present for somebody and you're not able to afford it because you've got to pay for heat or food or a house. And then you can get quite upset, which I personally find I get quite upset. So having a separate account means that I haven't got to worry or get upset or stressed about finding the money to give what I want to give to my friends and family and whatever. So that's a definite good tip that I've got. And lastly, this is a good one. Lastly, if you are doing Elf on the Shelf, this is Ivy's, Freddie's is up in the loft. We haven't named them because they're not old enough to name them yet, but I'm hoping Freddie will be this year. But if you are partaking in Elf on the Shelf, write down what your elf will do every day now. From parents I know that also participate in Elf on the Shelf, the way I did it is super stress-free. The amount of times I would have messages on my phone saying, we forgot to move the elf, we forgot to do this, what am I going to do, we can't think of anything, it's like 11:30 at night and I've got to think of something to do with the blooming elf. Well, that's why I write everything down now. So there's certain milestones throughout December that are quite easy, like so the 1st of December, if you do advent calendars, then so mine is that the elf arrives and brings the advent calendar, and then the 3rd of December is my dad's birthday, so our elf has brought granddad's birthday presents, so that's like a nice easy one. And then we celebrate St. Nicholas on the 6th of December, so the 5th, so when he comes on the night of the 5th, so when on the 6th, like, the elf will be there with like the shoes with all the sweets in, like, surprise, he's been, things like that. So and obviously Christmas Eve we do the Christmas Eve box, so that'll be when he leaves the Christmas Eve box and goes back to the North Pole, and I just need to slot in. And Pinterest is an absolute beaut for trying to find ideas for your elf. Some of the ideas on there I thought, well, that's a little bit naughty, but things like changing the colour of the milk, we didn't do that last year because we didn't think that he'd appreciate it, but it's definitely something that I'm going to do this year. I might even slip it in a couple of times, but changing the colour of the milk, so that maybe one time the milk's green and then the next time the milk's blue and then the milk's pink, and you can kind of, like, when they're this small, you can get away with repeating yourself a little bit. I think it gets harder as they get older and they've got a bit more switched on. But that is a definite top tip, and I can see why I saved it till last. It's like, how people don't think of it, I don't know. It doesn't have to take you long. It can, if you start the list in August, you've got until December, well, the end of November. So I mean, I did sit in bed in August. I was heavily pregnant because Ivy was born in the September, and I just sat in bed with Mark. Right, what are we going to do with this elf? And he just looked at me like, you're off your head. But I found it definitely helped, and the other thing that I found really helpful when we were actually doing the elf on the shelf is to do it as soon as the kids have gone up to bed. They never come downstairs, even if they don't go to sleep. They will just come to the top of the stairs, so they won't actually see it. But I found that once we'd sat down for the night, we weren't going to be getting up. So I thought, I tended to do it whilst Mark put Freddie to bed. Obviously Ivy was down with us because she was only 3 months old, so she wasn't in any sort of sleeping routine, and she obviously didn't pay attention to this elf on the shelf thing. But they both go to bed up in their beds now, so as soon as they come upstairs to bed, that is when I will move the elf and then make the dinner, so that once that's done and out the way, I can sit and enjoy the night and not be panicking and messaging my other mummy friends at nearly midnight saying, what can I do with this bloody elf? But that is all my tips that I've got for you guys to do in the lead up to Christmas. I hope you enjoyed it, and I haven't freaked you out too much that I've given you a Christmas video in September. So I'm sorry about that, but please give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you on my next video. Bye guys!